University of Tennessee, you are the primary audience for this video called For You I Will. It is wild being homeless and the experience I've had to endure on another front. But what's wonderful is I am fighting for what's right for all of my family. This video does affect you, University of Tennessee. It is important that you watch all of it and that you do what you can to help. I'm asking and pleading with you to do what's right.
Everyone can make a difference. We should try, basically. Tom Acosta said. Anyone can make a difference, and everyone should try. That's kind of famous last words from an Emmy-nominated and produced by Elaine McMillan Sheldon, who works at the University of Tennessee. Maybe they'll care. Maybe they will care about all these facts and pictures and video and facts and pictures and video, because Nathan's right. It's a sad concept, but it's true. It's what matters. So does a 7-year-old boy and everything else I'm about to tell you. And here we go. This is the proof that Elaine McMillan Sheldon knows that I'm homeless. Again, after staying there for free at my dad's 6,000 square foot home, becoming Emmy-nominated about a documentary about poverty. My dad made me homeless in 2016. Here I am with all these facts and pictures and video about being homeless. And Elaine McMillan read it. Right there you see in the top right corner, she read that message. It's unfortunate that Elaine McMillan has not demonstrated care about all this.
Sorry about the audio quality there. I'm multitasking. You have to do that to stay alive while homeless and defeat it. But in plain English, maybe another complete recovery that Elaine starts caring about me being homeless again and the safety and welfare of the 7-year-old boy my father's endangering. Maybe a complete recovery is already on the way. And I really am trying to be serious and real and respectful, because all of this is a real serious and big deal, respectful matter. Let's just hope for the best. We have to do that. It's caring. It demonstrates care if you hope for the best. It sounds silly, but it's all kind of true. And it ain't actually kind of true. Tennessee people know my language. It is true. It is true. It's so important that people know that caring and helping for the best, and that Elaine shows she cares. It's a free thing to do, but most importantly, it is true. Not a little bit true, it's true. Now, when Elaine McMillan Sheldon was getting Emmy-nominated for that documentary, it was a real big deal. Guess what else was a real big deal and is apparently missing in physical form? In 2023, it was the painting, my signature work of my father's, Finding I Am, featuring me. This is not a big, Nathan's awesome, let's care about Nathan too much kind of deal. This is just a fact. It is so important that Elaine starts to care, because it's also the right thing to do. Because you're about to see pictures of me next to a stove before my dad made me homeless in 2012. And she was there. And after he made me homeless and left me there with no water, with so much heartbreak. What's right never changes. It's so important that she cares. It is. Well, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do this video, but whatever it takes, you only be the best. And what I'm going to tell you, see the rest of this video, situation here on the ground in Denver, while you're at homeless for 599 days today, why I am probably going to be leaving Colorado, and what I do know about the situation involving Tom Acosta, McDowell County, currently as it's going on right now. I do cherish you. That's when that happened. When I had to know and believe. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. When I knew that I had to be this strong, I switched over in a way to DC Power, the initials of the man I want to marry. And I'm leaving him. Physically, leaving this side of the country, probably. Most of us, too many of us, can't even imagine what I have to be strong enough to deal with. And too many of us still aren't helping with anything that needs help. Tom Acosta being a predator. But let's take a moment in 2020 when I was new to Denver and I just came here
for promotion that wasn't really a promotion. It was never trained. They said it was too slow. After already defeating homelessness and the first time, due to Tom Acosta making bad decisions back then, and throwing his reputation away in the trash can way back then. So I believed in the dream of him going to New York City like I never believed it before, because I had to race against time, which is impossible. Tom Acosta can't be on Fifth Avenue, but he can't be on Fifth Avenue as American realism about Tom Acosta, and I know lie after 2016, after he made his son homeless. But those were the conditions on which I found out on an iPhone app, not a doctor or a boomer, an iPhone app, that I had HIV. Those were the conditions in which I found the man of my dreams. The only man on this planet I've ever wanted to marry. We're talking, but we're not together in the place I'm in right now, which is Denver, Colorado. That's heartbreaking, but not the point. The point is, I'm moving probably to Washington, D.C. He's going to be homeless there because someone I love is dying of cancer. This is Denver, Colorado, and we need people like Elaine to care. Guess what else is a big deal? Having to look at your parents. Tell them individually, because they're stupid and divorced. My mom really can't remember her mother. But back then, in 2020, I had to look them in the eye. Well, for Tom Acosta, it happened after I got medication robbed from me on the transport in the Greyhound across the country by myself. It was gone in a duffel bag. It was stolen. I had to tell Tom Acosta right then and there, who told me, I'm going to leave you in this cabin and go sleep with a 7-year-old boy. What is it? How do you get so shitty? You got a homeless. I'm so angry that I had such compassion. I know this was in me, but it was in me at the moment my dad said, I'm going to leave you here in this cabin and go sleep with a 7-year-old boy. And I was like, Nathan's right. The whole concept might be sad, but it's true. And it's ultimately all that matters. This is very important. West Virginia was unprepared. It's still unprepared. It was heartbreaking for me to have to hear that from my dad. And then he went and did that. Now I'm back in Denver because I didn't kill it. Praise the Lord. Defeating homelessness here, close to it. But now there's something else more important. West Virginia needs to actually learn it's going to have to fight for itself to exist because of what's going on with my dad's close affiliation with people are supposed to be leaders, but bring their dog's asshole. I didn't have Maserati. That's the governor, Jim Justice, and Senator Manchin, who has been as painting, and Okay, so the little bit I want to elaborate on about Senator Joe Manchin. First, just Google him. He's got history. He didn't have to make, but he did. The part I really want to illustrate is Wilkesboro, North Carolina is a very important place to my family and also to artist Ward Nichols, who's from McDowell County, West Virginia, too. Here I am, 2017, with Ward Nichols, having a good time, and then here's me later on in 2022. And what you should know is in 2022, Wilkesboro, North Carolina was the first place I could get to when I became stranded at the Atlanta Greyhound station en route to High Point. I was ghosted on, that's why I became homeless. But it was in Wilkesboro where I received help for the first time while homeless, and I was with someone who was in the Vietnam War, which was awful because he also survived the Greyhound station in Atlanta, and he's like, I know, you need to get help. So I was there with him, and I was actually chased away from the property by someone else who was a guest there, who chased me away with nunchucks because he just didn't want another person there. That is all a tragic situation and history with me in Wilkesboro. It's also the birthplace of my father's 40-year art career, and it's also the birthplace, Senator Joe Manchin should know, of Robert C. Byrd, the longest-serving senator in United States history. To wrap things up as quickly as I can, and here's a little squirrel that seems appalled. It's just something I grabbed off Twitter, but this is the gubernatorial portrait of Senator Joe Manchin, Robert C. Byrd's successor. How much did West Virginia taxpayers pay for this? We don't know, but it was a lot. Vermont paid over $50,000 for their gubernatorial portrait, so I'm sure it was quite expensive. And because nothing in modern West Virginia history can be complete without Baby Dog governing, and part of the governor that lost $500 million, more than that even, while governor, and we reelected him. And he's my dad's friend,
Someone in 2024 did ask me, calling me thinking I was Tom Acosta. Buddy in 2024 called me here in Colorado thinking I was my dad and asked me directions or instructions on how to get into Jim Justice's house. Clearly, that's a big red flag and a huge problem. Maybe people in Tennessee will agree. I hope so. But this is a picture of me in 2017 with my dad and Senator Joe Manchin's his staff people. And we are giving an indefinite loan, free loan, at no cost, a portrait of my Uncle Mike. The most immaculate work my father ever created. This painting was painted in less than 24 hours following the Upper Big Branch mine disaster in 2013. And it is really, truly the work and strength of God himself. And it's very unfortunate that Senator Joe Manchin has had this painting on indefinite free loan and cannot call me back. He talks a lot about common sense, but then there's Joe Manchin and Joe Manchin's history and his yacht and Maserati, and this should be unlocking doors for us. It's still not. This should be unlocking doors for all 4 Acosta sons. We don't know each other because we were every other weekend on alternate weekends because we got divorced. The most important thing to know is when my Uncle Mike bought Teresa Foley, before I was even born, a blue trailer, he loves her and loved her for all time. She's still feeling it. She's not homeless. She's never been homeless. She's not helping. She could, and I'm not mad at her because she really did care, and she was never forgotten when Tom Acosta did that, gave the painting to Joe Manchin, which is just not really, at this point, it is bad. Man of my dreams gave me this. He's already a clean bag of clothes when he gave it to me the other day. I promise we're going to get to this situation presently here with me in Denver while I'm leaving Colorado probably, and what's going on in McDowell County concerning my dad and everything like that. But here is, because I'm making these videos for all time, but hit me baby one more time, this is America's Best Family version 1.0. One father, one mother, married for the first time, having children, always in the marriage. Well, except for us, it ended 1998. Is the divorce attorney now, and for 16 years, been the chief politician of America's #1 TV hometown, Mount Airy, North Carolina. Yep. Brother Andrew, who is always going to need prayers, he's in the picture. It's a crop picture. My mom's pregnant. He's in there. Here's what Drew looked like later in that marriage. Here's Drew growing up a little bit, and then here's Drew, and that's about all we see of Drew looking like that because he was 6 and I was in 7th grade when my education had to be canceled so I could go to court and testify so Sarah Stevens could get paid. And my mother, this is what she looks like later on when she goes to Egypt, about the time my dad makes me homeless. But this is what she looked like about the time she was taking that picture. And she said, be the best. And we are, because Nathan is rock solid. I've waited so long to say this to you. If you're asking, do I love you this much? I do. I'm telling you what's going on. I'm telling you right here, right now. Tom Acosta can't change it. Even if he wanted to, he can't. And it's just the fact. I created a Facebook page. He's gonna deal with it. I was supposed to be at 7-Eleven today, but I can't be there because 7-Eleven made bad decisions. It just turns out to where when an employee who was really being dangerously to our lives, uncalled for, inappropriate, and rude, and quitting on Sunday, they wanted me to just go in there and pretend like she doesn't exist, but I did yesterday, and you can't really do that when it's a 7-Eleven. You have to be aware of like other threats, like somebody with a gun. Happens a lot at convenience stores. Everybody remember that? Tom Acosta being January 6th, where 5 people there died. Protecting America from Americans. But I'm at the same grocery store. Not exactly the same one, but the King Soopers here in Denver, not far from Boulder, well, not far from Columbine. You know, that shooter at King Soopers is a millennial. Supposed to be raised right by boomers, but they failed at that too.
So we just have to realize Nathan's 16 times more likely to die for being homeless in America, which is also likely anything can happen. I didn't go to work today, and I'm doing this and feeding myself, where I have microwave for 24 hours, and then after that, we never know. Technically, Tamagotchi will take your money if you're Dow County Schools in 2013, paying for artwork it never received, or the Raynell, West Virginia town, paying for a mural it never received. If you're West Virginia University, if you're taxpaying West Virginia, you supported paying Dr. Gordon Gay, the president of West Virginia University, $800,000. We paid Joe Biden, the U.S. president of the United States, that one, $400,000. Gordon Gay didn't have to do that, but he did. Look it up. He's also the man that said, if you ever need anything, Nathan, call me. I did. He never called me back. Look where we're at. And yes, let's look where we're at. This is where I was at in February 2023, where my mother's bed was there, only the headboard and a painting of my dad of himself.
This is where Elaine McMillan Sheldon stayed when she made the documentary Hollow. And this is a picture of my dad's house and a picture of my dad just painting his house, which he's done multiple times. These are the pictures. So a couple things here. These are the weather conditions in a picture of my father's house when he made me homeless in 2016. This is a picture of the same water tank about the year it was completed. The year it was completed, I think, and then what it looked like in 2023. And this is very representative of the leadership or lack of. I've been able to identify in West Virginia to do anything about anything. What I believe to be true about the parents of the 7-year-old boy that Tom Acosta blocked me from even trying to speak to. He did tell me that they were non-English speaking immigrants from another country. I believe the father is not in this country because he's at war in Ukraine. I fear there could be a bloodbath when he gets back because this is something I wrestled with God over. I didn't kill my dad. I'm very afraid of just like this atomic bomb that Tom Acosta is and what can happen in the future. This is a picture in February 2023 of what the inside looked like at my dad's bathroom. There was no water in the house he abandoned me at during this very intense confrontation about him sleeping with a 7-year-old. And here's like the very next day, a picture of me in front of the largest mural in the state of West Virginia, completed by Tom Acosta. But how did I get clean? February 2023, having just escaped ice cold freezing snow in Colorado, this was actually the only solution at my father's 6,000 square foot house where Elaine McMillan Sheldon stayed at and became nominated. This is what I had to do to get clean. This is the home I lost. The studio efficiency apartment was $1,200 a month, located halfway between downtown Denver and where my employer Dish at the time was located. That is the orange Denver Broncos hat. That was my favorite hat because it was the man of my dreams' favorite hat, and I lost it, but I didn't lose him. The station never lost the man of my dreams, but a part of him was lost when he went to Afghanistan twice and came back and was homeless for more than I've been homeless. Altogether, for him, then it was like 1,000 days. I've been homeless about 600 days. That's the reality, and I want you to know this too. Well, a whole bunch of things. It's going to be a long video, and the man of my dreams is none of these people, and he's homeless again today. He's been homeless twice, and he's been to Afghanistan twice, and he hated that I was homeless more than any other person on earth. How did we get here, though? Well, I'm not a scientist, but it appears to me that maybe with Sarah Palin and her interview on Katie Couric, that may have been one of the first signs. We have something I have created or diagnosed. I didn't create it. It's just a thing called mentally challenged hardship disorder. It is affecting, seems like Donald Trump has stage 4 because he's signing Bibles right after seconds before that, holding a $100 bill. He was actually in physical contact with our governor, and thank God he was, helping him stand up. If you notice that thing he's holding, I think it's something that holds legislation. It looks like it's been dropped a few times. And then, of course, we have the governor in 2022, Jim Justice of West Virginia. This was his best way to governing another boomer. It's important to know this. This is a picture of my father in 2018 in Wilmington, Delaware, at an art supply store. And it's important to know that when my father or Elaine McMillan Sheldon create a work of art, painting or a documentary, they're only doing it with the best skills, the best equipment, the best everything. It's to be the best. Well, I'm doing this on a phone right now, 599 days homeless. The number one reason, pretty much the only reason I'm doing this video, is to raise awareness about a very important situation. Not even me being homeless, which is also super important, and I'm 16 times more likely to die until I defeat it on my own. But that 7-year-old boy and the safety and welfare of him and my community that my family's from and everything like that. My father was doing an art show about homes in Wilkesboro shortly after I had to flee Wilkesboro when I was homeless. And if you'll notice up at the top right is a painting of that chimney and the American flag. My father is probably only doing the very best he can when he's submitting a photo for this art show. This is what the original painting actually looks like, because it is. And I'm the only one on the planet that has a digital archive of everything he ever digitally preserved in 40 years. Tom Acosta did not care about that when I offered it to him before he told me he was sleeping with a 7-year-old boy in 2023. Now, for submitting this picture of a painting for his art show promotion, he's probably doing the very best that he can. He really is probably doing the best he can. Here's my perceived perceptions of the painting. It's called Our Greatest Nation, and I don't really think that it is the greatest work. He thinks it is. Here he is with the original painting at the Welch Veterans Day Parade. The oldest U.S. Veterans Day Parade is in Welch, West Virginia, which is where that Jack Caffrey Arts and Cultural Center is, where he started and never completed, but was paid over $20,000 to complete a mural honoring U.S. veterans in 2019. That is awful. My dad's work returned again to Wilkesboro in 2023, a very old work, and here's blowed up. It's in June of 2023. It's awful. I don't want to have to tell Wilkesboro about the whole situation, but I know I have to. Here's the governor of West Virginia. We have to assume doing his very best to govern, and I really want you to pay attention to that woman pointing and laughing, and I wonder, and I figure, does she even know who Robert C. Byrd is, or what this moment, how significant it is? Here's the picture of what's supposed to be up and coming, the future home of the Coal Town Creamery. This is, Elaine McMillan Sheldon should remember, where Ed Shepard, a World War II veteran, featured in that documentary. This was his shop. He died. Ed Shepard was a hero for America and for that community, and always will be. But, I understand times moved on, and it's time to make something new, and they really are. I'm sure the city of Welch really is trying its best to make this thing a success. But here's the thing, and I'm not trying to debate up Welch. I really am trying to fight for Welch, okay? You need to realize that. Here's the big deal you have to understand. This is America's Best Family, version 3.0. Yep, version 3.0. That's me looking a little awkward, but we're at Elaine McMillan Sheldon's Hollow documentary, premiered at the United States Capitol and in Welch at Martha Moore Riverfront Park, where my dad has a mural, the largest one in the state. In this jumbled up mess of pictures, just take a moment to soak it all in. You can't have success with almost anything at all in McDowell County when you have become the victim, McDowell County, West Virginia. You've become the victim of Tom Acosta making too many bad decisions. It's awful that it happened, but it is never going to stop making things able to be successful until we, this nation, resolves Tom Acosta in some way. On the bottom left is a picture of a mural that I helped Tom Acosta complete in the summer of 2002. I was not paid. Tom Acosta was, as was Elda Justice, who could be helpful now. There's a picture of me in the stove in the blue shirt. That picture of me in the blue shirt was taken in 2012 when Elaine McMillan Sheldon, I believe, was still there right around that time. And that's when I moved there from North Carolina because my mother was partly terminated from stealing ICU crash cart meds, and I have a toxicology report. She went to Saudi Arabia. The other picture of me of the stove is in February 2023, when there was no water. I had some like gallon water to make dinner. That's how dinner happened with me alone in the house. The mural picture above the creamery there, that building, that's the mural that's archived in the Library of Congress. It's the one that Tom Acosta completed in 2008, and by doing so, acquired a 6,000 square foot home. It's just unfortunate that all of this is reality that you cannot deny. I hope that you can see the pictures and make the connection and understand this is a problem. It has to be resolved. I am okay. I have actually relocated back to Colorado and am now, it's a year later, I'm about to go back to the East Coast to do what I think I need to. And here's a picture of my dad in a magazine article about a mural in Hinton or Summers County. Nowhere Tom Acosta has ever been is immune to the atomic bomb Tom Acosta has become. But you can see this is taken right after he made me homeless in 2016. It's on his face. Okay? I never explained this picture, so let me explain it. Right after he got the contract for the mural about the Great Depression, this is what Tom Acosta bought and lived in by himself for years. My Uncle Mike, who passed away, swears many times he got the house in an illegitimate way. Here's a picture of the painting, one of several Tom made of his house. And in 2020, the height of the pandemic, in September 2020, my father felt like he needed a vacation, and he drove hundreds of miles away to the coast of Maine. And the same look is kind of right all over Senator Joe Manchin's face in like almost any picture, but here's of one of him dealing with being around an airplane. I don't know if he knows I exist, but he needs to. Now, the reason I went back to my dad's house in West Virginia in 2023 was to escape homelessness, but I really feel it was for God to let me know there was a more important work to do because my dad was sleeping with a 7-year-old boy. Here's me homeless in Denver. This happened too. I was in an interstate kidnapping. It was horrible. I tried to report it to West Virginia and Ohio. They couldn't care. Tennessee, maybe you can. It looks awful. It does. It is awful. But I'm coming to you with all of these pictures and videos and facts and believe in my dreams. And one is only unsinkable as long as they believe in the beauty of their dreams. And it just turns out this year I am rock solid. I can't do anything more than I'm doing already to try to help the kid my father's sleeping with. And this is the rest of the video. I'm over here at the grocery store, living my life for now, while homeless. 599 days, getting food today. Have somewhere to put it today. 24 hours from now? Nope. It all happens in a flash. It's like this because it has to be. Because my family doesn't love me, because it can't love itself. I'm the voice of McDowell County, West Virginia. Tom Acosta used to be an artist some of the time. Now he's a threat all the time. We should care. Then I tell him I have HIV. We have to go get medication right now. And he said, what do you think I'm supposed to do about it? That's what he said. But it's that moment when you look at your family individually. It's the millennium, everything's a verse. We're getting over that, aren't we? But you look at your family and you know, right then, it's so clear, they can't hide it. They can't hide it if they wanted to. It's that look. Oh, you got HIV, you're gonna die. I never loved you. I never will love you. Because American Realism with Tom Acosta used to be a business. And we are still a family. The best of it, all of the best, it's still right here. Deal with it. Just believing in mostly all things, all the time, all the way. I might be moving to Washington, D.C. for a very important reason. There are still people out there, too many of them, calling Tom Acosta very talented. And it's not a good thing. Here's why I'm moving to Washington, D.C. And here's more information. So important to take a look back at 2020 and all that was and will ever be. It still matters. Are we getting a picture of Joe Manchin and the man of my dreams on my dad's business Facebook page that I created? Yeah, we sure are, but you know what? We never seen my mother yet. She's still a big deal too.
We have never seen my mother, have we, on American Realism by Tom Acosta. And it's something we should pray for.
It's like everything I do is a big deal. It's like always life-threatening. I have to move on, deal with everything as fast as we can, honey. We're gonna start with remember 2020, and that's when, right then, when that happened, when you had to look your family in the eye, pretty much always. With Drew, it was a telephone call, but that's when, you know, oh, I never loved you, and I'm never going to. When you tell them you have HIV.
But that made my dreams, Ted. He never stopped. We're not together. I moved away. He's sober. Things are bad, but he never stopped loving me. That's a big part of this video.
That's when I switched over to DC Power. That's literally the initials of the Man of Dreams. The one I'm leaving here to be because I have to. Because my first love is fighting cancer, and he's not going to do it alone. And I'm just going to be homeless in the nation's capital.
And that's the look. Probably everybody watching this, my story, my videos for the first time has, but I wanted to tell you in full disclosure of everything, just because this video is for all time. This is a picture on the right of me and my first love, Stevie. I didn't put his full face in there, just try to be discreet as I can. But he is older. He's 19 years older than I am. My mother found out about that because I was like 19 when we started dating. She found out about that, and she did the best, investigating and trying to figure out if he was a good fit for me. It turns out he actually was, and my mother backed off on that really well because she found out Stevie was better for me than she was. So about the time I was dating him, I was going #1 in the country on Twitter, holding 9 congressional appointments at the United States Capitol. Later on, my mother has a permanent termination and lost her nursing license. Then she goes to Saudi Arabia, gets divorced again. I go to New York City after defeating homelessness to help my dad. There's a picture of me in Colorado, kind of in 2020, realizing, oh my gosh, all this happened. So like I said, Tom Acosta and Elaine McMillan Sheldon, when they produce work of art, they're only using the best of everything, including time and scales and everything. I'm doing something different. I'm creating something that I want people to see to help the situation. It's still underway and totally bad and needs to be resolved. I'm trying to defeat homelessness, but we have another situation, clearly. I'm going to show you another thing that happened while being homeless, and then we'll have an ending the best we can. Yes, I'm on medication for HIV. I wasn't when I was without it because it was stolen from me on the Greyhound going to West Virginia from Colorado, February 2023. Then I was actually so good at taking the medication before I couldn't, because it was taken from me, the whole duffel bag. West Virginia doctors told me, you're still undetectable. You've been doing such a good job at taking your Biktarvy. Even though you haven't had it for 5 weeks because you couldn't have it, you're still undetectable. I'm still detectable today. Need to go get a lab done for everything, but like I'm homeless and I have to move everywhere to survive and deal with like everything. So that's what's going on. But yeah, I got my medication. I've had my medication because I'm homeless. For bipolar, the medication they changed over when they discharged me for suicide. So they sent me to the hospital administration building where I had no business on it. And then I took 6 hours on a bus, or on a bicycle, to find anywhere to sleep that night because the hospital sucks. That time I was on mental health medication that I was like, I can't believe I'm going manic and I'm homeless and there's nothing I can do about it. And this is the greatest country in the world. That happened. So that happened. A lot of things happen when you're homeless. I'm gonna also show you a very long clip of another day when I was going to the dentist and recalling the experience of going back to West Virginia and what happened and how just the gravity of the situation, I think, should be magnified and very clearly seen in this video. This is the actual reaction I have just trying to go to the dentist, and this is real. This is cannot be more real. At the very end of this longer clip from a previous video, I have over 300 videos now on YouTube. But this one is important. And this clip is important. At the very end, we'll have maybe some possible ways you can help or things that you can do. So please watch that. Principal man, this is the best option. And just sleeping next to him and knowing he cares meant the world to me. And that's what people need to be aware of. It's like, I'm still trying. I can get help for my tardive dyskinesia. You know, people wouldn't let this happen to their children, but it's okay if it happens to me. My dad just painted my soul and put me up for sale at a painting for $8,000 in Transform, Pennsylvania. A little clarification on that, to be fair to the man that's not fair to anyone. There was a show in the Transford Gallery. It was a call for an exhibit. I thought it was just going to be an exhibit, nothing for sale. And it was about transportation. It was about works for transportation. So I said, let's take Find Diane, which she created in 1991. And then after we got there, it was for sale for $8,000. That wasn't okay. It would never be okay. And I will keep telling everyone about that for as long as he lives. As long as my father is alive, he's going to be walking through fire for me because he's sleeping with a 7-year-old boy. And there's just nothing I will ever feel bad about that. For me, he should be feeling bad, and I feel awful for that 7-year-old boy. And I don't understand why reality is so hard for the boomers who should be stopping it. But it is because they're just not strong people. That's all there is to it. Before I go further in this video, how about we just acknowledge the fact that boomers did screw it all up when they took a chainsaw and put titanium in my father and he came out some Frankenstein sleeping with a 7-year-old boy. Do you think for a second that that could be possible? Because Dr. Cousins, another fucking boomer, never did say, sorry, here's the best we could do. Here's your dad. He's sleeping with a 7-year-old boy. Sorry he made you homeless before even all this shit happened. And sorry we're just putting all this shit on you now. No, he never did any of that. It's absolutely what happened. My dad never touched boys like that until 2023 when I got back there, and he was absolutely doing that. Do you think that I'm making this shit up, or does it seem real enough to you now? Because it's what happened. And I'm dealing with all of this, and I'm dealing with Judy Loudermilk, my pastor's wife. Sincere prayers and thoughtfulness for the Loudermilk family. Then they did it. Helmer Loudermilk was my family's first pastor, and he did come to us a lot in the spring of '97, encouraging my parents to stay married. So we didn't know that too. Who just can't even deal with, like, I don't know, a toaster. I'm having to deal with this shit. And my grandmother, praise the Lord, I feel so much better saying that. My grandmother Fanny had the option to have her chainsaw just messed up, put titanium in her. She said, hell to the no. Praise the Lord on the greatest generation for doing what's right. And knowing what's right doesn't change. We ain't got this stupid millennium figured out. And we don't belong in an operating room with my father and Dr. Cousins, and all this shit that happened in 2019 is directly responsible for the shit going on now. Here's the rest of this video. Oh man, I'm glad that that bus stop stopped me here because I'm actually doing a transfer to get to the dentist. I got to take a 22-minute transfer right here at this bus stop, Mississippi Avenue, and some other street. But here's the bus stop I was at. I'm so glad this happened because this is the bus stop I was at. And you see the Rockies behind me? I'm not sure if you can see them where this camera is, but there's the beautiful Rocky Mountains. This is actually a really pretty shot. You can see the whole ridge right there. Here, person, don't know if you can in the video, but I was right here. This was one of the last stops I was at before I went back to West Virginia. When I told my dad, I said, Dad, I want to come back. He called me on Christmas Day last year, and I waited until I was still trying to stay here in Denver. I got robbed one more time, and then I was at Southmore Station, and it was so cold and windy that the wind almost blew my jacket off. And that's when I called him. I said, Dad, I'm going to come back. I said, can you get cash up? And he said, yeah. Tom Acosta lies.
Like Lisa, never got Cash App. I got back to West Virginia. I don't have a bank account. I don't see the use for it anymore.
And then he said, I wish things were still like they were back before we got divorced, Nathan. And that's when I know you's still in there. The real you's still in there a little bit. And part of him is sleeping with a 7-year-old boy. And he needs to be a person. But, going back to this bus stop here. So I was right here. And back then I had another phone. The kidnapper stole it. But I didn't have a good charger. And I remember, this is the part I want to make in this part of the video, is told my dad, I was like, I need some money on Cash App so I can go get a phone charger here at the Apple store here in Denver. And he said, we'll just figure it all out when you get here, Nathan. And what he was referring to was, we'll just go to Washington, D.C. from Bluefield or wherever in Summers County he was staying. We'll just go to Washington, D.C. for a phone charger. My dad couldn't get the vehicle that he never paid for off the mountain. And none of that shit's my fault, but that was my dad supposed to be helping, and he couldn't. You know, it's just this whole, you know, double standard of boomers of no matter what I do, my dad thought it would be okay to not help me get a charger here. He thought the appropriate thing to do would be get a phone charger in Washington, D.C., and he couldn't even get the vehicle he never paid for at a home he never paid for off the mountain. And here I am, still surviving my 500 days later with a phone. I got a phone charger in my backpack. I'm going to the dentist. I'm doing everything Judy Loudermilk never did for her kid, who's in prison. Never going to get a phone charger in Washington, D.C. either. And it's just like, you know, I'm glad I have a 22-minute transfer right here. I'm glad I can see the beautiful Rocky Mountains because I always try. And that is what this is all about, really, is people that do try and people that don't. And I have nothing to be ashamed of. So here we are. I've arrived at the end of the video. Nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing I've done. I'm alive and in a hotel room with a full-time job. But having to do this to fight fire with fire, it's not something I'm proud of either. But I will say, I feel like I'm 100% Space Jam. It's old, but it's still the best. It's still the greatest. You're going to want the greatest on something like this. There's a picture, my dad's house by the fridge. I've got a picture of the 7-year-old boy. I'm not sharing it because it's important that that child moves on as much as he can. He can. And the amount of tears daily to cry about this while fighting homelessness and not being able to find anybody in West Virginia, the whole damn state. Supreme Court Justice Tim Armstead doesn't seem to be concerned. It would be one of the people. Dr. Gordon Gay. How are you? But I feel like 100% Space Jam. And the best way I can end this video, I'll have a little promo things where you can help. But I feel like that song for you all will. Wanna come? I'll bring the ocean to you. I'm gonna bring you the moon. I'll be your hero, your strength. For your will. For this kid, if this is what's going on, if it's going on. Why not? We have to. I have to. This will not stand, is what George Bush, H. Bush, said when he found out. He got off the helicopter and found out Iraq ready to quit. It's kind of how I felt. This will not stand. I don't care if I'm homeless. You're not going to be doing this, Tom Acosta. Not for 1 second longer than you ever think you can. And coming soon for me to the scariest words in the English language. I've got an update on the print Tom Acosta did called Once Upon a Time, I believe in 1992, in Mount Airy. There is information that is relevant and important about the painting. It has nothing to do with him sleeping with a 7-year-old boy, but it is very important to Tom Acosta's character, and hopefully it could have a good ending if some people get involved. We'll see. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right, and that's by Henry Ford, one of my favorite quotes. This is just a reminder, what is only unsinkable
as long as they believe in the beauty of their dreams. And here's ways you can help that way. Also, well, clearly to me, I don't have a graphic for it, but if anybody in Tennessee or the world can tell us, Virginia, you guys need to get your act together. We need to resolve Tom Acosta. This is crazy. That would be great. That's what I'm really shooting for. But you can also open a Chime account, and we both get $100 as a qualifying direct deposit. Thank you for watching. Be best. Be blessed.